Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on Core TV News on the hour. I am Ebulomo Adekunle. Associates of the national leader of the All Progressives Congress, Bola Tinubu, have raised the alarm on the presence of soldiers in the vicinity of his Lagos residence in the last 3 days. Media aides of the opposition party said in a statement that soldiers numbering about 30 had been sighted in 3 patrol vans and an army truck close to the gate of Tinubu's private residence along Bodleian Road in Ikoyi. They said the soldiers were first noticed on Sunday at about 11 p.m. in an army truck stationed 500 meters away from Tinubu's gate and had been around since then on surveillance. Tinubu's media aides noted that as at Tuesday morning, 2 army vans were stationed on both sides of the house along Bodleian Road. But reacting to the development, the APC leader said he will not be intimidated by what he described as a show of strength and possible harassment. He, however, insisted that he would remain resolute in his advocacy and support for the rule of law. Nigeria's leading opposition party, the All Progressives Congress, has accused the military authorities of conniving with the People's Democratic Party to postpone the general election. Party chairman John Odige Oyegun made this allegation at a news conference in Abuja. He wondered why the military and security chiefs, including the National Security Advisor Sambo Dasuki, never raised security concerns until a few days to the presidential elections.
Any further postponement can only lead to a constitutional crisis of major proportions. The Constitution provides for at least 30 days before the handover date, May 29th, for an election to be held. We have strong suspicions, in fact stronger than suspicions, but hope that this postponement is not part of the agenda to generate this constitutional crisis in the country. We are just recently recovering from a crisis precipitated by the famous June 12th crisis. We are aware of plans to intimidate and orchestrate the arrest of our leaders across the country on frivolous grounds. We are now aware of how the PDP used intimidation and arrest to rig the last governorship elections in Ekiti State. We are aware that this is the plan of the PDP in the current phase we're in. But we have no doubt at all. We have absolute faith that Nigerians will stand up to this. We have no doubt that the international community is also watching.
A coalition of civil groups has called for the resignation of the service chiefs for their failure to guarantee adequate security for the elections earlier scheduled for February. Coordinator of the Transition Monitoring Group, Ibrahim Sikirulai, made the coalition's position known at a press conference in Abuja. The rights activists noted that by claiming that they cannot guarantee security, the security agencies have succeeded in twisting the Independent National Electoral Commission to shift the elections in order to satisfy the ruling People's Democratic Party. TMG argued that electoral umpire has no strong case to postpone the elections on the strength of an insurgency that has ravaged
are pushing for the shifting of the election knows that their reason is not tenable. So what they did simply is treasonable. Is to just say that, well, you can go and have your election, we will not provide security, simply because it is entrusted in their hands. And that is why we are calling for the immediate resignation of the service chiefs, because their loyalty is no longer to the Nigerian nation. It is now for individual few who want to use the postponement for their own parochial interests. So for us, the insurgency in Nigeria does not start today. Even if it starts today, there are parts of the country where the insurgents are operating. And don't also forget that these same states, in the face of the insurgents, have organized local government election. and heaven did not fall there. So the president himself has gone to Maiduguri twice in the last 1 month to canvass for election. So if the security in the northeast, he has gone to Bauchi, he has gone to Gombe, he has gone to Adamawa. If the insecurity in those areas permitted him to campaign, then I do not see the insurgencies tampering with our votes.
A federal high court in Abuja has referred a suit challenging the eligibility of President Goodluck Jonathan for re-election to the Court of Appeal. Justice Ahmed Mohamed took the decision on the basis of an application filed by the plaintiffs Adejumo Ajagbe and Olatoye Wahab. Hearing of the substantive suit had not commenced when the plaintiffs pushed for referral on the grounds that the Court of Appeal had to make pronouncement on a vital issue in the case. Attorney General of the Federation, Mohamed Adoke, opposed the application, but another defendant, the Independent National Electoral Commission, did not oppose it. This is the second case on Jonathan's eligibility that is pending before the appeal court. A federal high court in Abuja set a February 23rd date for hearing in a suit challenging the eligibility of the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Muhammadu Buhari. The suit, which is seeking the disqualification of the APC candidate, was filed by an Abuja-based lawyer, Max Ozuaka, and has the Independent National Electoral Commission as co-defendant. When the matter came up for mention on Monday, lead counsel to the APC candidate, Wole Olanipekun, informed presiding judge Adeni Ademola of his intention to file a preliminary objection to the suit. Justice Ademola, in his ruling, said he would consolidate the suit with a similar one, challenging Buhari's eligibility into one case. After the adjournment, the defense team expressed its readiness
in anticipation of the processes that we want to file on behalf of the defendant, the first defendant, challenging the entire processes filed. That's just a summary of it. They are legal processes, and this is entitled to file the processes challenging the entire action, the orders made by the court for substitute service, and even the service they have purportedly done through the pages of newspapers. By the grace of God, will be here on the 23rd of February.
So all counsel were in court, and we informed the court that certain processes were being filed, and that in any event we had come to appear on protest against the suit. Some other people came to say they wanted to join, but you know, in law, the one that you deal with first is the one challenging the jurisdiction of the court. It is after that issues can probably arise as to whether any other person can join. So for now, the matter is adjourned to the 23rd of February to deal with all pending applications in order of priority.
The presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Muhammadu Buhari, on Monday took his message of change to the delegates conference of the Nigeria Labour Congress. The former head of state told the gathering in Abuja that in line with his party's manifesto, he will identify and promote growth of industries and give incentives for local content if elected president. He also expressed the belief that Nigeria can set a standard for the African continent by providing competent leadership that has capacity, courage, and the know-how.
You believe that the labor of our heroes past and present shall never be in vain. You believe that our hopes and dreams can become reality. You believe in a nation bound in freedom, peace, and unity. You believe that we can rebuild the broken walls. You believe that our great country can set a standard for all of Africa to see. I pray that you will give me the opportunity to play a part in bringing about this change, that the All Progressives Congress, the APC, so strongly desires for our country, Nigeria.
Oyo State Labour Party governorship candidate Adebayo Alao Akala has promised to restructure the education sector in the state. We'll bring you details after this break. From time immemorial, women have birthed life, shaped character, and by extension, influenced the society. Moremi of Ife, Emoten of Benin, Queen Aminat of Zaria, all women of influence and power.
Whether it's before election, after election.
How ironical. Women being so powerful, yet have few grounds in decision making.
I see you as a wife, and I see you as a wife to a man.
We are talking women in politics.
A woman will be bold enough to stand up and say, I want to become president of Nigeria.
Only on Core TV News.
Thank you for being there. And for more news and other information, you can visit our social media platform on Facebook, facebook.com/Core TV News. Our Twitter handle @Core TV News NG. And for videos on YouTube, youtube.com/Core TV, leave a space, event news. Oyo State Labour Party governorship candidate Adebayo Alao Akala has promised to restructure the education sector in the state if he emerges as the next governor of the state. Akala stressed that the sector has suffered setback due to inadequate funding and neglect by the current administration, which will be a thing of the past with him at the helm of affairs.
We will not overlap our school children and our teachers. Effectively, you can teach what you have in your class. You know what I mean? You can effectively teach what you have students in your class. We started it. Governor started it with us. I was the deputy governor, he was the secretary. So what did you have to do about that? We started it. I was the deputy, he was the SSG. So we did it and continue to do it. So that we don't deliver our teachers. So that we have students that they can control. In those days, our teachers will know us by name. When you are going, they will call your name. So that's the salary I want from my teachers. But that's able to recognize their students by name.
Speaking to the workers gathered to endorse the former governor, Director General of Labour Party Campaign Organization, Kola Balogun, and the party senatorial candidate, Olu Abiala, say the decision to shift the date of the general elections clearly shows
we're ready
panic
for the
from
election
the ruling party
whenever INEC is ready. And I hope there will be no further postponement after this last one. So that's my opinion and that's our position.
It's unfortunate, but there's nothing we can do about it because the change of date was informed purportedly by the security report. And it's like they are saying the life of the presiding officers, of the supervisors, of all the hard-work staff are in danger. Nobody wants to take that risk. And for that, INEC will be forgiven.
As part of efforts aimed at bringing development and government closer to the people, the Osun State government, through the State Independent Electoral Commission, has conducted a referendum throughout the state. The yes or no vote is required by law in the creation of the local councils. The Osun State leadership, however, says it entertains no fear in the constitutional recognition of the proposed councils. Rashid monitored the exercise and filed in this report.
The idea to create more local councils out of the 30 existing ones in Osun State was first mooted in 2013, and since then, stakeholders and interested communities have been clamoring for the creation. But a referendum is a critical part of the whole process, and to ensure this goes smoothly, the state government declared a work-free day for people to participate in the exercise, which was described as timely by the people and orderly by the officials.
Local government council is a council that is more closer. So we are closer to Egbedu already before, but we shall be more closer to the new local government council. That is why we are very happy. Very happy that we see it as a sort of independence.
in the administration of the community. People are turning up, and since the morning we are here, there's an improvement in turning out of the people to come and vote. And they are doing well. The line is well arranged, and people are complying with the instruction given to them.
To the Osun State government and House of Assembly, all that is needed has been put in place in recognizing the proposed local councils, irrespective of the experience of states who have created local councils in the past.
We are following the same suit. That is what is required by the Constitution. That's what we are doing here. And the part of it is it has gone in our assembly. It has passed the first reading. Before we can make the second reading, that is, it will include the referendum.
We will not have such a problem. We have taken our time to go through the processes as enshrined in the Constitution. So by the time we ultimately make returns to the National Assembly, it will say true.
To the Osun electoral chief, despite his satisfaction with the exercise, the state still needs to take some steps to actualize the local council's creation.
By virtue of Section 8, subsection 3B, is to conduct this referendum and to see that 2/3 majority of the people are in support of creation of the local government area. I will transmit the result to the State Assembly. Thereafter, the State Assembly has the responsibility of doing its work.
With the move for the creation of the council's gathering momentum, questions will no doubt be raised. The answers to these poses lay with the concerned stakeholders in the exercise. Rashid, Core TV News.
Meanwhile, the Osun State chapter of the People's Democratic Party says the referendum put together by the state government is nothing but a fraud. The party also questions the motive behind the move. Its publicity secretary, Bola Ajo, says Aregbesola should explain his game plan for fixing a referendum just a few days from the proposed presidential election, if not for the postponement.
Well, as far as we are concerned, it's only Aregbesola and his cohorts that can explain what game they're up to. For us to have, if not for the postponement of the election, for us to have an election slated for the 14th of February, and for some other fifth columnist somewhere to now propose another election of a sort, referendum is another election of a sort. For 9th, is some confusion of a sort. But we'll see how it goes. We are as a party, we are law-abiding, we are due process compliant, and let us wait and see how their game plays out.
Labour activists have converged on Abuja to elect a new leadership for the Nigeria Labour Congress. But coming in an election year, the three-day delegates conference also provided an opportunity for politicians to attempt to woo the Nigerian workforce. Basi Aye now reports on the opening session of the conference.
It is the opening of the elective conference of the NLC, which will witness the emergence of a new leadership. Thus, it should have been a typical event by organized labor, with labor activists in attendance. But that was not the case, with politicians also in attendance. Little wonder, the gathering was turned into a political campaign rally of some sort by the two leading parties in the country. First to speak was former NLC President and Edo State Governor, alongside the APC presidential candidate, who tasked the workforce to insist on accountability from government.
I celebrated democracy the day the former president declared me and the NLC as behaving as if we were running a parallel government. He virtually accused me of treason. But that was my best hour. The more angry he was, the stronger I felt, the more happy I was. If he was a military president, I would have been gone. So you must understand, when we defend democracy, it is our own. The right of the oppressed to resist oppression. It goes beyond voting for Jonathan or voting for Buhari or voting for any other person. It's about us.
You believe that the labor of our heroes past and present shall never be in vain. You believe that our hopes and dreams can never can become reality. You believe in a nation bound in freedom, peace, and unity. You believe that we can rebuild the broken walls. You believe that our great country can set a standard for all of Africa to see. I pray that you will give me the opportunity to play a part in bringing about this change.
But government representatives were also on ground to showcase the achievements of the Jonathan administration.
And I stand to be corrected or challenged that beyond any other government and beyond any other time, the federal government of Nigeria, under the leadership of Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, PhD, has liberalized the landscape and has not only recognized and appreciated, but has protected the rights of Nigerian workers to unionize.
Secretary to the government of the Federation, however, preferred a neutral position. He says there's no need to politicize the gathering.
Let me say that Mr. President said I should note the theme for this conference, which is the working class and the challenges of national security, unity and democratic development. For him, this is a very topical issue, and indeed such an important issue that we must, with caution and indeed with due sincerity, discuss. With every passion indeed, he said, we must not politicize this theme.
Finally, the outgoing president of the NLC gave his valedictory speech.
Much as I must admit that in the course of our leadership, we had lots of shortcomings, I must also tell you that my colleagues and I put in our very best for Nigerian workers. Of course, our best may not have been good enough. As I said earlier, if mistakes were made, they certainly must have been mistakes of the head and not that of the heart.
While the conference may have commenced with an unusual dose of drama, public commentators and indeed Nigerians are inclined to watch the final turn of events, first with the Labour elections and later Nigeria's general elections. Basia Ye, Core TV News.
Officials of the Ebonyi State government are accusing the Secretary to the government of the Federation, Ayim Pius Ayim, of fueling crisis in the state. They are consequently seeking the intervention of President Goodluck Jonathan before the situation worsens. Attorney General of Ebonyi State, Ben Igwenyi, and the Commissioner for Information, Ifeanyi Ike, expressed the position of the state government at a news conference in Abuja. They also claimed that the SGF instigated anti-graft agencies against indigents who are believed to be too close to the state government.
I hear to cry wolf where there are actually wolves. The presidency should weigh in and call to order the EFCC, ICPC, the top brass of Ebonyi politicians in Abuja to stop this play of power on the integrity of Ebonyans before it turns out very sore and unpalatable to all and sundry, including themselves.
We have an NN commissioner from Ebonyi, the federal commissioner. From Ebonyi. We have somebody who is chairmaning Revenue Mobilization and Fiscal Commission, and so on and so forth. These are the people who are the neck of the state government.
And that's it on the news for this hour. Join us again top of the hour for more. Thank you for watching. I am Ebulomo Adekunle.